Welcome. My name is Bart Pietrzak, owner of Project Power. Here with me is Michael Foster, head badass of Project Power. You know, I thought it would be important, bro, because I've been in fitness for so long that right now there's so much bullshit. There's so much bullshit in the fitness industry and in social media in general that I think a lot of the reason podcasting has become so popular is because there's like a sense of realism to it because it's just two people having a conversation.
Yeah.
So I thought that'd be a phenomenal opportunity for like a public space like what we have here to get real people's stories out into the public, right? Because there inevitably it's the same story repeated over and over and over just in different people's lives, right? You started X years ago on your path. There's someone out there right now that's going to start tomorrow on that exact same fucking path.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
You and I worked together for a bunch of years. You knew me at Supplement Superstores. You and I formed a pretty good bond and a relationship. A few years after I left S2, you reached out to me and for personal training.
Yep.
So, dude, like, I know we've been buddies for a long fucking time, but I've never really asked you very intrusive questions about that journey. And I don't know if you've even, like, talked about it much. But I think it's one of the coolest things because I've been so proud to like watch your journey that I think it'd be really cool to share the story. And I know you have no idea that I was going to ask you that because I didn't pretense this last night. I'm like, hey man, you want to do a conversation tomorrow? You're like, sure.
Yeah.
That's it. So I know you have no fucking clue what I'm about to ask. Nor do I know if you actually want to share this shit. But now the camera's on you, so you kind of have to do it.
No choice
so
now.
You have no fucking choice. So, bro, real quickly, kind of just tell me your background of like before your fitness journey started. What was life like for you?
Okay. So kind of like I would say kind of started in high school, playing sports. I worked out after school type of thing, up and down, didn't know shit about form, just put weights on and get after it and then figure it out from there.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the after school thing. And then, after that, just kind of sports, you kind of go to college and doing the college thing. So there was a little bit of, some working out for a couple weeks. Something comes up.
Not consistent
whatsoever. Just
so why
in and out.
Why were you doing it? Why were you doing it there when it wasn't consistent?
Honestly, it was kind of just something to do, to be honest. Like, it gave me time, and then time to do for myself is what I thought it was good for.
Yeah.
And then when I started working at UPS, and then I actually was kind of doing like a car wash outdoors thing. So UPS, like car wash in the morning and then UPS in the evening. And in the summertime, they both were outside. And that's when I basically stopped for working out. I just had no energy. And you know how much I sweat, dude. It was game over.
Holy shit.
There would be times like at like noon, I'd have to change my shirt at the car wash because I was like, man, I'm getting these people's cars dirty again before I even finished cleaning them.
You're a spokesman for hyperhidrosis.
So, yeah.
Yes.
So that was kind of how that started. And then, so off and on, just kind of through there, just.
How was your like mentality through that? Like, was life going well? Were you like upset? Were you like depressed?
I'll be honest, dude. I never really knew what I actually wanted to do for the longest time. I kind of just like fell into UPS because it was help pay for school, but I didn't know what I wanted to do school wise.
Okay. What did you go to school for?
Business administration.
Yeah.
That's what I got my degree in.
A lot of good that did you.
Yeah. Get college education, bro. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Get that piece of paper nowadays.
Sure.
But no, so just kind of did some of that stuff. Went to school. I mean, there was some working out here and there, off and on. And then once I kind of went to UPS and got out of the union, because I used to load trailers and sort boxes.
So were you in shape at this time?
I wouldn't say like fit, but like, yeah, I was decent. I was still playing like rec sports and stuff, basketball in college and stuff. Still somewhat active, just not maybe necessarily lifting the weights as much as like nowadays. But then once that kind of happened, got moved into the management side of UPS, where I was actually running docks and kind of just kind of doing some similar things, but like in charge of multiple people and the operations and stuff like that. That's when I would say I started to work out a little bit more, because I stopped at the car wash job. Once I did that, I was like, I can't do school, car wash, and then UPS and all it being outside in the summertime is just too much.
Mm-hmm.
So I stepped away from the car wash and then started doing that stuff. And then, once I moved up to the engineering department, so I kind of made a lateral part-time move first up to the engineering department, because I knew my old boss out there was he was up there, and I was kind of tired of the operations side, just because some other issues, just things were being said and not being done type of thing. So just
Poor leadership.
yeah, just like promises that weren't really promises. They're more of like, hey, this is what just not honest stuff.
Yeah.
This kind of leading you on to things that just by listening to someone right away. It's like, that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
So once I realized that, I kind of got up and changed and went to like the management side up in the engineering department, where I'm doing more behind the scenes stuff of like the UPS operation, where it was, planning for like just all kinds of planning stuff, like the scanning plans. Like they have a system where you scan the box, and as soon as it scans it, it tells you what trailer it goes into, everything like that. So doing stuff like that, and then went full time there. And when I went full time, that's when basically the downhill started.
Oh yeah.
Because working way more hours, salary, felt like I had to prove something. So I was
At work?
At work. So I was going above and beyond it, I thought, and just not really taking care of myself. So I was just eating fast food on the way there. Afterwards, not a lot of movement, long hours, especially during, obviously, Christmas time.
Yeah. I used to remember you telling me how crazy shit got there.
Yeah, basically from Thanksgiving to Christmas, just if they work at UPS, just expect they're working every day.
So you fell into this, not fell into, but you got into this position where you thought or felt that there was opportunity for advancement and growth and potential. So then you essentially sacrificed yourself for that potential, which is understandable, because that's typically, especially now, is what fucking is preached all over the place, is like just grind and hustle and do what you got to do, and get what you're thinking you're trying to get. So how did that number one, how did that affect you? Because you said the downhill started. So what was the downhill, or what did it look like? And then two, like, what came of it?
Yeah, the simple thing is that, like, when I was on the operation, I was moving. Like, I was on my feet and moving nonstop. When I went upstairs, basically, behind a desk, computer stuff. And when you don't move and you're eating the bullshit, it's just, it adds up quick.
Did you eat the bullshit because it was convenient and fast?
Convenient.
That was it? Yeah. It wasn't like it made you happy when you weren't happy?
I mean, I'm sure there was some of that, especially on the weekends, where I'm just like, man, just long week and you don't really feel like doing certain things. You're just like, no, I'm gonna order that pizza or something like that.
So before we go to point number two, like, I think that's a huge thing to fucking understand, is a lot of people get into that exact same position where you're in a job where you're trying to advance, you're trying to get a career, trying to pay for your family, you're trying to create a salary. But I mean, open discussion, it wasn't a fulfilling fucking job.
No,
you didn't trust the people you were with. You didn't get excited about what you were doing, right? Like, okay, go ahead.
You felt like you were putting yourself first when you were doing it, but you weren't.
Right.
It felt like, hey, this is what I have to do. This is what I need to do. But then looking back on it, you're just like, man, I was like so far down the list myself versus like all the other stuff I was doing, that when you look back on it, you're like, damn, if I would have flipped that a little bit, it would have completely changed.
So I have a philosophy on this, because I think humans are innately just pure energy, right? There's a lot of metaphysical conversation and quantum physics to talk about, but what I believe is people are energy, and our connection to the world is energetic. And what that means for why I'm saying this, when you are in a position where you're actively convincing yourself to try harder and to eat shitty food so you can get to work earlier and this, I think there's an innate energy understanding by your atoms, by your body, that says, like, this isn't really what I should be doing, right? Or I shouldn't be sacrificing myself like this. And how that comes out, because you have consciousness that can barrel through that feeling, how that comes out is the need for serotonin and dopamine from other sources, because your daily energy throughout the day doesn't suffice. So then we have to subconsciously fulfill that need. And then, you know, sugar and caffeine and all that shit is exactly how that fucking happens.
If I could tell you how many times I would have, if I had $5 for every time I was like, hey, I'm starting on Monday. Like, I wouldn't need to work anymore.
No
wouldn't
doubt.
need to work anymore.
So why didn't you start on Monday?
Well, and then there was a long time where I'd tell myself I'd start, and then Monday would come. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, but why?
Dude, it's just like, I'm like, I'll start after work, and then after work happens, you're like, it doesn't work. And then I switched it to like, okay, I'm gonna try to do it before work. So then I would do like Monday, Wednesday. I'll go probably Monday through Wednesday, and then just tail off. So then the next week I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to get the
Why did you tail off?
Just didn't feel like it. Just didn't feel right. I would do something, and I'm like, man, this doesn't feel right. I didn't know. Just didn't have a plan. I had a plan. I was like, I feel like I wasn't doing it correctly. Just didn't like the environment of where I was to do that part of the, like, to work out. I was like, man, I went.
You didn't fit in. You didn't feel.
Yeah, there was nothing where it was me walking in and that was it. You know, just like it's almost like no one else was even around, and you're in your own spot and you have zero clue what to do.
Were you like really overweight? Like, what did we get to physically? Like, were you?
The heaviest I got to was 300 pounds. That's when I looked at it and I was like, fuck that.
On the scale?
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
That's when I changed, had some other personal stuff happen around that time that was kind of like, all right, we're changing.
What was it?
Just relationship, just all kinds of stuff. Just basically, at one time, dude, within like a 2 weeks plan, I made like 5 or 6 serious like decisions where I was like, this is happening. I'm out here. I'm working out. I talk to you. And then I was just like, so I basically, if there's a reset button, I pressed it.
What were the other 3 things you didn't mention?
What else? So relationship.
The relationship part. So like I'm assuming that has a lot to do with
a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, just wasn't happy. Just kind of got complacent in it. Just work the way kind of work was going. The thing about certain like corporate jobs is that they UPS is kind of like the people there are cool. I love that. I love the people that were there. But there's a lot of false like oh hey, like the worst term that I hate, like, is my pet peeve when people say is work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
That is the biggest crock of shit, because the only people that can make a work-life balance is yourself. And when a company preaches that to you, they don't give a shit about it. They don't.
Expand on that. What do you mean that you're the only person that can do work-life balance?
I realized here, like, because I would work extra. I would stay late. And no, it's not that I was trying to get – at first I was trying to get noticed. Like, hey, I'm going to do the above and beyond for people. And then you start to realize that, like, hey, like, I'm doing this, and while a few people are noticing and appreciating it, you're just like, this ain't worth it, because then you go home and, like – your significant other is just like, where you been? Like, what's going on? Like, this is the 3rd time this week, type of stuff. And you're not making time for the people around you that are the most important,
mm-hmm.
versus being somewhere where you're just like, I mean.
But I think, honestly, because obviously I know what you're talking about, because I've devoted my fucking life to very deep endeavors. And so my wife has had to support through a lot of, time. But I think the difference, I don't, like, for example, if I don't see my wife for 3 or 4 days, but what I have to show for it is a fulfilling, energetic, positive, or progressive, cohesive fucking thing, then that's like, yes, I am willing on her behalf to sacrifice a little bit of time now because
Yeah.
of this thing that we're going to do together, right? But if you come home from a place that you don't really have much belief
Yeah.
in, and you're like, I have to work hard just to get as much out of this shit that I can,
Yeah.
you don't really like, you don't have anything to present to her.
100%. It was negative stuff.
Right.
Like, and like, so and looking back on it, I was like, dude, I realized that. And I was like, fuck, that a lot of that, like, stupid shit was me. Like, just coming home and not, like, letting little things bother me that, like, didn't mean anything. Just, like, looking back on it, I'm like, dude, that was so stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
Isn't that life, though?
yeah.
Isn't we look back at, like, everything that we've ever stressed out about, and we're like,
100%.
oh, that was not a big fucking
Dude,
deal.
it's.
But you don't know that at the time.
Yeah.
You, like that's another thing that, you know, you hear people fucking say all the time. It's like, oh, I thought I had problems. Like, I wish I, bro. Like, at the time they were problems
100%.
because you didn't have anything greater to compare them to.
Yeah.
So like, it's that's an unfair thing to do. You didn't know.
Yeah.
You don't know until you fucking experience it and you go through it. Like, so like living with regret of like, oh, I wish I hadn't. Can't do that.
Yeah, I learned from it quite so
Yeah.
much. Like where there's things like that would happen if they happen from then to now, it wouldn't even be a skin off my back. I'll just
Yeah, but
roll.
because you went through it
Dude,
that first
100%.
time,
dude.
right?
Yeah,
But see, so how much more of a benefit is that to you that now if grander opportunities or more work gets put on your plate or different situations come up that resemble similar situations that you've been through, and now you can fucking navigate them
Dude.
no problem.
yeah. It's
You're,
like-
you know, you're potentially giving yourself 10 times more of a reward because of the bullshit that you went through
Yeah.
before.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You know, I just think sometimes people get way too fucking obsessed with, you know, how it is now is so much worse than what it used to be, and I wish I have what I used to have.
yeah.
Like, dude, that's bullshit. You know, I don't know.
The thing that I kind of noticed the difference like now versus then is then I would focus more on shit that already happened, where now I'm more looking towards like the next little thing. Like so I'm more looking in a positive mindset going forward, when back then, like instead of me like letting it roll off my chest or whatever, I'd bring it home with me. And then like if she was in bad mood, it's just the day was ruined.
No doubt, yeah.
Like, and I know that I cause a lot of just dumb shit just because I would let things that weren't important just bother me, and for way longer than what it needed to be. Like, so then I started realizing that, and then kind of to the point where, because I worked for UPS for 14 years, like once I kind of like got out of that relationship and started that journey, I obviously told myself that, hey, like when I leave here, it stays here. So
Yeah.
it took a little bit of time for that to go, but there was times when like you had to walk through a guard gate, and that was my goal. Like I was like, hey, you can be mad from when you get out of your chair and you walk to that guard gate to walk out, but once you get past it, you leave that shit right there. And if you don't, walk back in until you're ready.
Yeah.
I did that twice in my life.
Yeah, you walked back in.
I was pissed off enough to where I was like, man, I'm not ready. So I walked back in, and like I would just take a little lap, a little walk around the hub, and I'd come back, and usually that was good.
But see, that's awesome, dude. Like
Just
that's
little things.
that's
just you
taking
think of-
responsibility.
yeah.
Because, bro, like, yeah, why don't we leave things where they deserve to be left, right? Like, who pissed you off? UPS.
Yeah.
So why don't UPS have my pissed offness,
Yeah.
and then why would I bring that to anybody else? But that's maturity and self-awareness.
Yeah.
But see, I think the difference is you are allowing yourself to be pissed off. I think way too, especially now, people are way too obsessed, another obsession, with turning everything silver lining and being happy about things. Like bro, like why would anger exist if we were not supposed to feel it?
Yeah.
Why would sadness exist if we're not supposed to feel it, right? They're all to benefit us. Every single emotion that we feel is to benefit us. So motivation comes from anger. Very, 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 very often, motivation comes from being pissed off enough to change.
Yeah.
Right? Being sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I think it's great that you allowed yourself to be fucking angry, but you left the anger to where it's deserved and not bringing it to someone or something that it doesn't deserve.
Yeah. And then kind of from that point, just I did 75 hard the first time, and when I was
What is that for our listeners?
Oh.
Even though I'm pretty sure everyone's ever fucking heard of it.
Well, basically, what 75 hard is, you do 2 workouts,
Yeah.
outdoor and one has to be outdoor, 45 minutes each, 3 hours apart. No cheat meals, no alcohol, progress picture, and read 10 pages a day.
And a gallon of water.
And a gallon of water.
Yeah.
So those
for 75 days straight.
Yep, 75 days straight. So I started to do that. I failed the first like couple times I started.
How? When? Why?
I think it was more just like the food thing. The hardest part for me, whenever, like the water's always been pretty easy. Once I was able to like switch that, I don't like right now. I don't really drink anything except for like water and too many energy drinks, to be honest. But that's
because you work in the gym.
Pretty much what I drink now. The pitcher I was pretty good at. Just there's a couple times where I realized that, hey, you need to take it in the morning at the beginning versus like letting it kind of sit.
Yeah, you forget that shit super
and it's the
easily,
easiest
dude.
thing to do. So
It
if you're doing
is.
75 hard, just to get it done in the morning.
Yeah.
Take your morning pee, take the pitcher. Easiest thing.
After your pee, though, not before.
No, while you're peeing.
While you're,
It's a challenge.
Don't post your progress pictures.
Yeah, just make sure it's the waist up, but you can do it while you're
No,
doing
you gotta show root, bro. You gotta show that root progress, man.
Yeah, start from the bottom over here.
It's just root for me. I don't. It doesn't specify.
So no face.
No, it's just
straight
my.
torso.
It's
and
like bottom
from-
top of my dick to my belly button.
Yeah.
That's basically the only.
knees to chest.
Doesn't say what part of your body
That's
should be
true.
progress pictured.
That's true.
So
Doesn't-
I take advantage.
All right.
That's what I do. I find loopholes.
And so when I started doing that and really got into that the first time I did it, I kind of was able to develop a routine because I've always been a very routine-oriented person. So I'd work out in the morning before work, whether it was the outdoor workout or the just normal gym workout. The good thing is I was kind of smart enough to kind of make it a little bit easy on myself where some people aren't able to, where I can look at the weather and I'm like, oh, it's going to rain in the morning, so I'll work out in the gym and kind of, but there's also times where I was like, oh, it's going to rain in the morning, I'm walking my ass in the rain too. And
Why'd you do that?
Just because you got to do it once. Like any weather, you got to do your outdoor workout. And if it's snowing, raining, something like that, you'll feel different.
I just finished both of David Goggins' books back
Yeah.
to back. And I don't think that there's anything more honest than the fact that when you are outside
Yeah.
and you know that everybody else is purposefully not outside, you feel fucking awesome. You
Dude.
feel cool. You feel like a badass. You feel like you're moving up in the world. You feel like
Yeah.
you've got a bigger dick than you do. Like it's awesome.
The first 10 minutes suck, but after that, you're just like,
There's
you're
like a sensation
you're
that
just
like
looking
overwhelmed.
around.
Yeah, like
You're
no
like-
one.
you're like, where-
Bro, birds aren't
Yeah.
flying around.
Yeah.
Rabbits are finding their fucking nest. Like I'm out here.
There's a couple times at Creve Coeur when I went to Creve Coeur because it was kind of like on my way home, and I would be walking around and I look up at the sky and I'm like, oh shit! Like, I'm like, if
I can't wait.
dude.
So I was doing 75 hard, and Joe and Jay and myself, two of my clients, I do football cardio at the Wentzville football field. And so I invite them from time to time. And so, a couple Thursdays ago, I invited them to go do some football cardio. About 30 minutes in, I mean, it's clear sky. And then
Yeah.
within 30 minutes, like it is a fucking monsoon. Trees are sideways. Like everything's like we're running and the cone just fucking flies, dude. Like I guess we're running to the cone. So obviously everyone packs
Yeah.
up real quick and we fucking run back to our trucks and they get in their trucks and they drive away. I sit there for half a second. I'm like, I have 15 more minutes left. So I fucking get out of my truck and I walk back to the football field all by myself and I just start fucking running in the middle of, I mean, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Across the street, there's was that Holt High School? A fucking lightning hits a tree
Yeah.
and then I go back into my truck.
Yeah. That's probably.
I was 5 minutes short, so then I had to go back that afternoon and find
Yeah.
5 more minutes of outside workout. But there's like that split second thought. You're like, you know what'd be fucking cool?
Yeah.
Like I have a video online of me flipping a tire while it's snowing with snow on the ground.
Yeah.
That was another one of those moments where I got done in the gym, got in my truck, sat there for half a second, snow's falling, I see the tire, I'm like, you know what'd be fucking cool?
Yeah.
I flip some tires in the fucking snow.
Yeah. It's big dick energy.
I
You feel it.
You can't describe it any other way
You
than just
can't.
pure fucking animalistic testosterone fueled
Like,
ego.
When you're done, you're just like,
But
fuck with me.
but see,
Yeah.
that's the thing is it's like you're not recording yourself because
Yeah.
the water would ruin your phone. Like no one's around, so no one knew you did it.
Yeah.
So maybe I said ego, but maybe it's like a self-confidence builder of like, man, I am more badass than I can give myself
100%.
credit,
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us to try that shit in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
Because those moments come up all the time. You're dealing with a fucking disgruntled customer, right? You know what 99% of people would do in that situation.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the other way,
Yeah.
right? I'm going to go the way where no one's going to fucking go. I'm going to turn this into something positive. I'm going to keep my cool. I'm going to, like, I think that's the secret to maturity of success is realizing when those rainstorms happen in every aspect of life
And head straight towards them.
and go right at them
Yeah.
and do your thing.
Don't go around them. Walk straight into them.
So Kimmy got me a necklace. Someone had told me an awesome quote. She told me an awesome story, and I basically fell in love with the story. Kimmy heard me talking about that story so many times that she made me a necklace. So it's a Project Power necklace. You've seen this.
Yeah.
And on the back it says, "Run towards the roar." And so the story is in Africa there's a watering hole. And it's this huge watering hole, and it's covered by brush on both sides. And the sun's shining, so all these animals, antelope, fucking elephants, birds, all these animals come off one side and start drinking the water. Well, on the opposite side of the watering hole, coming out of the brush, giant fucking lion. Big, burly bastard, huge mane, fucking stands up on his legs and goes, roar, and just fucking lets out this ferocious roar. All the animals' heads pop up, look at the fucking lion and go, F this, I'm out. All turn 180 and fucking bolt, right? So they all run away from the watering hole. In the brush behind them were waiting 30 lioness. And they ambushed all of the fucking animals, snatched them up and ate them. Feasted on those fucking animals. Had they run towards the roaring lion, there's no way they would have been in danger. One dude can't do all that damage, right? So it's like, if you can identify that which scares you or is unique and you run right fucking at it, that is the highest chance you have of something good coming out of it.
100%.
Right? Look at your own life. I'll look at my life. Like anybody, look at their life. Watch when you went away from what scared you, and watch how much damage it did.
Like, I think I said this on when I did my Meet the Trainers, that like every decision where I felt like sick to my stomach or something like that, and I still did it, has always been the right one.
Yeah.
Like all the anxiety and shit
that's how you know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's almost like it's telling you that, hey, this is the decision you need to make.
Yes.
It's just a matter of if you take the step towards it.
Well, it's just your fear.
So,
you're afraid. You're afraid because it's either going to ask you to be smart. It's going to ask you to be cunning. It's going to ask you to be charming. It's going to ask you to be intelligent. It's asking you to be something that you may not have confidence in.
Yeah.
Right?
Just kick down that fucking door.
Right.
That's all you got to do.
Bro, when I was in grade school, I would get terrible grades because I'm not a school type person. And bro, like I would come home with my report card and I would avoid my parents for hours, dude. I would go to like 16 different friends' houses.
Yeah, try to get my plane in before they saw me.
Dude, I would rehearse with my friends. Like I made it such a big deal, right? And every single hour that went by just got worse and worse.
Anxiety.
Yes, dude. I was gonna shit my pants for hours.
Yeah.
And then I'd get home and like, my parents cared, but like my parents are Polish. My dad was born in World War II. They didn't give a fuck about a lot of shit. Dude.
Yeah.
Like they're like, are you getting in trouble? Like, are you
are you a good person?
Yeah. Like my dad's like, you're too dumb for these grades. Like they understood that I had intelligence.
Yeah.
They just also understood that when I'm bored, like I have a very tough time
like
applying myself.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. So they'd be more disappointed of like, why didn't you fucking try, dude?
Yeah.
Like, you're smarter than this.
Yeah.
And it happened every report card, but I always got just as scared. I don't know fucking why.
Yeah.
Right? And we do that, dude. There's plenty of conversations that you're scared to have. There's plenty of, when you made that 5 trigger pull where you're like, I'm quitting my relationship, I'm quitting my job, I'm quitting my this, I'm quitting my that. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why it takes. I don't know why we're programmed so much to run away from the shit that makes our lives better.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It's once you realize it and you find that switch where you stop and you like can take it in. You're like, all right, this is definitely what I've been doing. I've been doing it, going this route every time. Try this the other way.
Why
Just
not?
Go after.
I've tried it the first way.
Yeah, just like I've done this and this turned out bad. Did this? Think. Usually examples of like what you've done, and it's like, okay, hey, I tried to work out, or I tried a new job, or hey, I tried to apply myself in my current job and nothing seems to be going. Pivot. That's all you gotta do.
Fucking just try. You can always go back to what you were doing.
You can. Like you
I mean, think about how many people are scared of losing office jobs. Like,
yeah.
bro, there's literally infinite of those fucking jobs.
Dude, like, it's true, and I don't like to say it, but you're replaced immediately.
Yeah,
Like,
but dude, that's true no matter where though. Like I worked in I was one of the first employees of a company that grew really big, and I was really high up. Everybody's replaceable.
Everyone.
And that fucks with your mind because you build enough value in yourself that you're like, oh, this place would not be the same without me.
Yeah.
That may be true, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be worse.
Yeah. it just like you pivot, it will pivot too.
100%, dude. And that ego of like, but see, I don't know. No, it's not ego. What it is it's justification.
Yeah.
It's I want to leave, but I'm so important here that like
you gotta tell yourself a lie to keep you there.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
So
yeah, that's.
I mean, and like I said, like I did that stuff, and I was like, all right, kind of made the decision, and then so I did 75 hard once. I think I don't remember.
That before you and I started training together? No.
I think it was after.
Yeah.
It was after. Because I started with you, and the biggest thing that I just made sure with you when I was training with you is that I showed the fuck up.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you because that's also another thing that I don't usually get like super crazy in depth with because of time constraints. But like, you started training with me. What was that like? Because I've never, like, what was it like? What was like to contact me? What was it like after our consultation?
Yeah.
Like, what then the first 2 months?
Dude, I think it might have been New Year's Day that I reached out to you. I think
possibly. I don't know.
I want to say 2018, 2019. I'm not sure. 2019 sounds about right though. And
No, 2018. You were early on. I think I had you early on.
Might have been 18 then. Time flies when you have
regardless. Yeah, I don't fucking know.
So I reached out to you, and basically we met, and then we started. And the first day I did the workout, and I puked. Do you remember me puking?
Yep.
That's the only fucking time I puked during a workout. So anyone that wants to work out, wherever you're at, if you make me puke, that'll be the second time ever. Just so we know.
It's also a great advertisement for anyone who's intimidated to do this.
No,
I'm just no. It's a joke. Okay,
we can cut it if we need to.
Yeah, no.
I'm just kidding.
No,
like
it's all good. So you puked, okay?
You puked.
Does that not discourage you?
No, that. But the thing is I puked. I went home, got ready for work, and I felt so much better. I was just
better?
Like physically better. Like in my mind, I was like, man, I just did something that was hard.
I did some shit,
and I puked. I didn't feel good, like going home, and then all of a sudden I'm showering, getting ready for work.
You're proud of yourself.
I ate it a little bit, and then I'm like driving to work. And I'm like, damn, that was fun. Like, that was good. Like I feel better.
Crazy.
Like that, and then I got to work, and you're just like I was in a better mood. Just like I could tell right away that I was like, man, something's different about today. So then I think we did like 2-3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, or something like that. And I was like, man, I'm ready for Wednesday. So I came Wednesday. So basically, that first week of my whole thing was like, just show up those days. Yeah. Like, don't worry about anything else of trying to work out on your own. If you can just show up those 3 days, like, that's your start. And
for sure.
So I showed up those 3 days. And then once I got comfortable, I would say 2 or 3 weeks in, I got a gym membership. And I was like, okay. So slowly started to work in maybe a day by myself here or there. And And then, like I said, the 75 hard definitely helped me because obviously when you're doing 75 hard, when I started that, I can't remember how deep into it.
We were in for a little
it was
bit
a little
before
bit.
you started.
And then I started it. So then I had to obviously do other things. So I worked out on the days like that we weren't. So that made me go to the gym and started to get more comfortable with that. Also, just working out with a trainer. If you're like unsure, a trainer can help you just focus on form, show you how to do things, correct your form, give you cues to where like your biggest thing was helping me like with form and just like breathing. Because I could tell that when I was doing like chest exercise, I'm like, man, my shoulders. Like, you're like, dude, you shouldn't feel it in your shoulders.
Yeah.
And then once I corrected that, I'm like, all right, I don't mind doing chest now. I actually, holy shit, I feel it. Like, more so than like I'm halfway through a chest workout, and I'm like, God damn, dude, my shoulders are just fried.
No doubt.
So just like you learn how to lift correctly. Like you help with cues of like tight core when you're squatting, airing your belly type of thing, like your shirt that you have, just like that stuff. And you start picking up stuff on your own. And then those things on top of like doing shit that you would never do yourself, like pushing sandbags. And remember when you had me pull the fucking sandbag with a rope and I got DOMS and I couldn't move my arms for like a week? Dude, that was the most painful time. Like, I almost wanted to quit that time, so I was like this.
Yeah, delayed onset muscle soreness. You basically use a muscle so much that your central nervous system prevents you from using that muscle by cramping those muscles so hard that you're unable to move them.
Super painful.
Very, very painful, and it lasts a couple weeks.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But see, like, okay, dude, so, you know, again, it's been repeated countless times that people change their lives and, like, you know, their training gets better and all that jazz. But what I still think is misinterpreted is this, how you feel when it's happening. Because I think people get into that routine and then they expect this, like, I go to the gym and I feel like a rock star and I don't think that happens for a long fucking time, right? Like, you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Which makes you feel awesome.
Yeah. So here's kind of how like when I started doing it and working out with you. And then when I started doing it on my own, like my thing was, I'm like, I'm not getting the same feeling. Like, and I was like trying to figure out why. Like, I was like, man, I'm like, I'm still doing this. I'm consistent now because now I made it a habit. Like now I'm like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm 75 hard and I gotta get it done. So then I felt like I was kind of plateauing for like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And then I'm like just being like sore, and I was like, man, what's going on? So then I was just like, you know what, this next workout, no matter how I feel, I'm just gonna go till failure on like my last set. So then I did failure on every set. Really, really good workout. Then I had that feeling again where I was just like, okay, it's back now. So I was like, okay, so what that was telling me is like, you can't just show up now. Like
that's not enough.
Yeah, like you got to that point. Now you're showing up just like you're doing basically the same thing you did at work, like to your workouts. It's like you're just showing up and going through the motions. You ain't gonna get anywhere doing that. So then I realized, like, all right, you got to push yourself when you're here. So you can't be doing 3 sets of the same weight, same exercise for a week straight. So then I was like, all right, you got to push yourself, and started like. Once you start doing that and you're by yourself, because I didn't want to really ask anyone for a spot. Just I'm not really head down type of person usually when I work out. Not so much now because of here, but when I was doing it, I'm just like, hey. So I would just like, if you die, you die type of thing. Once I realized I was doing it right, so you started pushing yourself, and I started getting that feeling back. Like every day I was like, okay, that was a good one. Or if I didn't have a good workout, I'm like, you didn't push yourself.
Isn't that fucking ironic?
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking ironic? The days where you hurt and are in pain and fail are your benchmark of, did I do good?
Yeah.
Because everyone's benchmark usually is if it was comfortable and I made my way through it and I was perfect, then I did good.
Yeah.
But that's the opposite of fucking life. If you go through something unscathed, it did not help you.
Yeah.
No matter what you think it did not help you.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to fuck yourself up in order to do anything great in life.
100%. Like, and it wasn't necessarily like I was trying to go up in weight. It may be like, hey, I did 10 reps at this weight. I'm going to try to do 12 to 15.
Yeah, dude.
Just stuff like that.
Yeah,
Just
you made yourself hurt.
Just push yourself.
Hurt yourself.
Yeah. And so that's kind of when I started realizing, like, all right, so this is you, like, then obviously just kind of doing research and kind of looking up movements. You get more involved of like, hey, I actually like this, so I'm going to start trying to find new things to do. You start realizing that, hey, the more you push yourself, the more you get in what you put out.
Yeah.
Like the more you put in, and that's in general.
That's why that's why we're having this conversation,
Yeah.
Mike, is I'm trying to,
Yeah.
and again, I hate doing things that everyone else does.
Yeah.
Right. So what my attempt and my goal with our interactions are always is to like let people know the authenticity of exactly what the fuck everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
Because everyone hears the surface level shit and everyone can regurgitate that like you got to try hard and blah 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 blah. But like what does that actually feel like so that when you're in the root of it you don't quit.
Yeah.
Because that's the fuck everyone gets to that point. Everyone who doesn't try or does try gets to the point where it hurts.
Yeah.
But they assume it should feel differently than it does. So they think they're doing it wrong or they're not on the right track or it's not efficient or it's not optimal. So they fucking pivot the wrong way.
You pivot the wrong way because there'd be times there was multiple times, maybe not necessarily during 75 hard or whatever, when I'd eat right and I got to that point where I was like, I felt like I was plateauing, but I wasn't pushing myself. I'm like, man, I lost it. I don't have it. And I would pivot towards something I was already like I used to do. Like, if I'm not getting the results anymore, I can might as well eat a pizza.
Why not have a pizza?
Yeah.
Why should I not get results and not have pizza?
It's like it's got to be one or the other. It can't be both. So, and then so there's a couple of those. I'm like, dude, and then you start to like stop and think. You're like, dude, you're doing it again.
Yes.
Like you're literally doing it again.
Yep.
So then you pivot back, and it's like, let's push ourselves. And then when you continue to push yourself, that shit from the past that you used to do doesn't even come in your mind anymore because you're more focused on the next step forward. Versus
Well, so what I've gathered essentially through 75 hard and other aspects of life being successful or not is set yourself times that you're going to try something. Yeah. Meaning I'm going to do this for 6 weeks. Yeah. Because if you give yourself, if I say 6 weeks is the duration I'm going to do this, then what's happening through those 6 weeks is almost irrelevant because my focus is to do it for 6 weeks. Yeah. If in 3 weeks I'm like, I don't think I'm getting any leaner, I don't care because I said I'm doing this for 6 weeks. 100%. Well, we'll come to find out maybe that day you didn't feel lean is because you were stressed or whatever. And then 2 days following, you're fucking leaner than you've ever been. 100%. But if my focus was progress and I assumed there was no progress today, then I start making alterations. Yeah. So I think a good example for people to do is to give yourself time caps for how long you're going to try something. Yeah. You got a new job, give it a year. You got a new fucking girlfriend, give it 6 months before you make drastic fucking decisions, 100%. Because daily we are an up and down specimen, bro. We fucking feel more than we feel more than we see. Yeah. Meaning like we live life through a filter of our sensations more than an objective looking at actual events. Right?
100%.
So instead of going, wow, I feel bloated today because of lack of water yesterday or the fucking barometric pressure outside. No, we don't do that. We go, I feel fat. And so I'm doing something that's not right. Therefore, I must change. Yeah. Like, bro, like that. No, you've been eating clean. You've been exercising. That's not going to go poorly if you keep doing those two things. Yeah.
And then the biggest thing is like you expect results right away. So you like hop on the scale after like 3 days. You're like, where's it at? Yeah. And you're just like, does nothing changes.
That's right. Because again, the focus is the scale or the focus is progress. No, dude, I'm just not going to quit for 60 days. Yeah. I don't give a shit what it is. I'm not quitting for 60.
Scale should never matter. It should be like a thought of how you want to look. But also give yourself time. Yeah. Because that was one of the biggest things that used to set me back is I'd jump on the scale and I'm just like, dude, I've been
killing myself
after it. Yeah. And then it's just like, so now I don't really care what I weigh. I'm just like, I know I'm putting the work in. So when I look a certain way, if it's 180, cool. If it's 240, even better. Yeah. It's just one of those things.
I think we need to transcend to the point where aesthetics are important only as a result of my confidence whenever I'm like looking at myself or try on clothing. But really your aesthetics should be just a byproduct of your lifestyle, right? So like for me, I used to always just want to be the biggest, baddest guy in the room. Why? Because I was a very self-conscious kid who always got picked on. So I wanted to demand respect just by you physically looking at me. So it was beyond all else important for me to be the biggest, baddest motherfucker. Why? So that no one would talk to me and no one would bother me. That's why I did it, right? I was so hyper-focused on the scale that I would eat myself to the point where like I'm getting fatter, but because the scale's going up, I'm like, great, this is awesome. Until I got to the point where like, fuck, dude, I'm pudgy. Like, how the fuck did I get pudgy? Right? Had I just made a plan that's like, dude, just this lifestyle is what you need to be doing, regardless of what this is, you know, you would become exactly who you're supposed to become. And then you don't have so many fucking things to try to manipulate to keep on track. Yeah. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's kind of similar because, like, I thought I came to this realization probably maybe like 6 or 7 months ago when I was just like starting my second part of like where I thought I was plateauing and I made some good results. Is that it's like, dude, you didn't get 300 pounds in 3 days. You didn't get 300 pounds in a week. You didn't get 300 pounds in a month. How the fuck do you expect to lose that weight in a week? How do you expect to lose it in a month? It's like, it's going to take, if it takes you 6 months from the point where you're 300 pounds, you got to expect at least double that to lose it, to get back.
Well, listen, the way I think about it is if you're on a hill and you tumble down the hill, don't you tumble a lot faster than walking up the hill? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So when you're doing the wrong direction, you're doing the wrong shit, you're tumbling. And so momentum and speed and gravity are fucking taking your ass quick. If you stop that tumble and start walking up the fucking hill, it's going to take you longer, bro. Yeah. It's going to be slower. It's going to be more painful. It's going to be more tiresome. It's going to take so. Yeah, but you know that all that requires is just taking a look at reality.
Yeah, stop and think. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. Like a piece of advice is when you feel like you're in a shitstorm, stop. Put yourself in a situation where you can kind of just reassess where you're at, and that's kind of when I was starting to be able to do that. Where it's like, hey, all right, well, this is what's going wrong. This is what's going good. This is where I want to go. How do I get there? Yeah. Once you start thinking of that stuff and putting yourself in that mindset, you start figuring it out a lot faster. And also it gives you direction to start moving that way. Yeah. Where you're not sure what you're doing. You're just like kind of walking, pacing back and forth instead of like, okay, taking a step forward. Like, so that's kind of the biggest things like through my journey was like, okay, yeah, that there'd be times where I felt like I said, just kind of in the water, just not moving, just kind of what's the word I'm trying to think of, just floating, I guess. Yeah,
I know what word you're trying to say.
I'm trying to say,
and I have always lost it because I'm in solidarity with you. So I also don't know what the fuck the word is.
But and then you just gotta find that thought, that first step, and then take it. The faster you take it, the faster you get to the
run towards the roar, bro. Yeah. Just fucking everything that scares you at every point. There will always be something that scares you. I don't care. Dude, I'm 36 years old, and I have fear. Yeah. Fear never goes away. Anyone that says I'm not afraid of anything is a fucking liar, because
they're probably afraid of everything.
Yeah, they're so afraid of so much. They're afraid to even tell you that they're afraid. Yeah. You know, like, duh. And secondly, we talked about it. That anxiety pit in your stomach, that fear. Congratulations, that's your direction, that's your compass, that's the fucking run towards that and figure it the fuck out. And let's say you take those 6 weeks and you do an event and it does end up not where you want it to.
Now
you know for a fact. There's no more debate. There's no more like, well, if I gave it more time or if I tried harder,
you learned a lesson, and you can pivot to the next one.
That's right. You know what doesn't work. I don't eat vegetables or fruit, bro. And the way I know that is because I fucking did everything to a T for a long fucking time. And it resulted in not what I wanted. Yeah. But I did it. I did it regardless of how I look or how I felt. And now I just eat meat and animal product. And I did that now for 2 years. I said I'm going to do this for at least 2 years. and I feel better than I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah.
So cool. I don't have to debate. No one can bring science to me because I have my own personal experience.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately, if I'm wrong and I feel great and I love life, like, let me be wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit if you think I'm wrong, bro. Like, you can't make me feel bad for feeling good. Like, sorry, not gonna happen. Sorry.
Yeah. There's so many examples of that too.
Yeah. All right, so we'll wrap up here. We're not going to do Joe Rogan 3-hour style. We're going to do a 1-hour Project Power style.
Okay.
You lost body fat.
Yeah.
How much did you lose weight-wise?
Right now, I just got my scan at S2 this past weekend. I was 230.
That a boy.
230.
And you
like
gained a fuckload of muscle.
17% body fat.
There you go.
Getting there.
Yeah.
Not exactly where I want, but
No.
like
Listen,
definitely.
you'll never be where you want because
Yeah.
once you get where you think you want, you
Just-
now know you can do more.
I just change it. As soon as I get to like, hey, this is a good step, I'm like, all right, now it's here. And then
You just figure out what you're capable of, man. I didn't know I could do this. I guess I know I can do that. Maybe I can do that too, right?
And then once you start piling those wins, they come faster because you start
Believing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Think about the very first. Not always the case. I'm a unique specimen, but think about your dating life. Like the first girl you dated, and you're like, man, she's pretty hot. I wonder if I could get someone hotter. And then like you got another girl, like, oh, she's even hotter. Like maybe, and then you go, I could get any girl.
yeah.
It's not like there's not like a qualification that I have to fucking boundary myself to, you know. And that's the same thing with money and fucking personal goals and everything, dude. It's like
There's no
cap.
No cap.
Yeah. So, all right, dude. That was fun. I learned more about Michael Foster.
Yeah.
That's fucking dope.
No, it was fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. This is what I want to do. I want to be able to fucking just convey real information out into the world and have people think about it in the most authentic way possible. So, every Tuesday, I'm gonna try to sit down and talk about some real shit and get some information out of people's lives that help other people's lives.
Yeah. So hopefully this helps some people.
That's it.
If not,
Fuck you.
I'm sorry.
That was a bit much. Sorry. I don't sit down for an hour very often.
Yeah.
So I get a little antsy.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, bro.
Yep.
Rock on.